She is a very giving person. She raised my sister and I as a single parent, and she did make sure that we had everything we wanted or needed.
One of a kind. She very open, easygoing. She's always treated me almost like a son. We barbecued here a lot of times, and for me, she has a great personality. Racist? No way. Nope.
I was a Hitler Youth member. I wrote a book about my experience of growing up as a Nazi in Germany. And that's what I like to talk about. And I was very, very young. I was like 5, 6 years old. And I remember I heard the word Nazi. And when I asked my mother, what's a Nazi? And she would say, well, Nazis are good people and communists are bad. When you were living during the Hitler times in Germany, there was a law that you had to join the Hitler Youth. We learned how to stay in line, and we had to take certain sports, and we would have to learn certain songs. Die Fahne hoch, die Reihen fest geschlossen, SA marschiert in ruhig. I was mesmerized by his voice right then. He had a very powerful voice. It was a strong voice, deep voice. And he promised everything that, you want as a young person or even an older person, They were going to have a good life, and the education was good, and everybody would have enough food. At that time already, there was people didn't have enough food, people didn't have money, because we were still suffering from the First World War. He was going to make Germany great again, and I believed it. It's very hard for other people to believe it, but that's really, we didn't have a bad life. We had a lot of fun, have a lot of friends, and we had all the opportunities we wanted to go to free, to theaters, to resorts. We would go as groups, and we would go and see beautiful country that we maybe couldn't afford. A lot of people couldn't afford to travel, but they would take us and show us the beautiful country we live in. And we were hopeful that we would have a good life with Hitler. We wouldn't, instead of saying hi or hello, mother, father, whatever, we would say hello to our parents when we would come home from school or something. We would say Heil Hitler. It came to the point where I thought Hitler was Hitler was God. The Jews? Oh well, Jews were totally out of my mind. Didn't know any Jew for sure. I didn't know during the war. There was no talk about, there was only talk about the Jews taking the jobs away from us, and they are running the banks and taking the money there, they were, then constantly it was said that. And then once in a while you heard they're going to a labor job, to a labor camp. Because there was a lot of work, no soldiers, the soldiers were in the army, and so there were no people around, so they went to put to work. You didn't like it, but, that was the answer. Maybe they did something bad, of course you would say, they probably did something bad, I saw a soldier, and he had something in his hand, in his arms, and I couldn't figure out what it was. It looked like a human, but no, it didn't look like a human, but it could have been only a human. I was kind of mixed up, so I asked my mother, let's go up there and see what it was, Then we realized it was somebody in the concentration uniform, the striped uniform, and it was a young girl, probably my age, and totally skinny, like you couldn't even recognize that they were people anymore. And then I knew all the lies that we'd been told. I knew that everything was true, that the bad thing, that people had been taken away, When the war ended and it was announced on the radio that Hitler was dead, I thought my world came to an end. I remember that. I did one of those. But the whole experience was, I felt like getting sick and throwing up. That's how horrible it was. We should never forget it. We should always remember that people got killed for no reason and murdered, and it was really a horrible, horrible thing for a lot of people, and millions of people got killed. Also, they had the pictures of the leaders there. And when I saw him, I must admit, I feel ashamed to tell you that, but I kind of looked at him and I saw him as the man that I respected and loved, and just for a quick moment, then I felt bad that I even had thought like that, but he really looked, he had a nice suit on and his uniform on. But at the same time I thought, God, I must have been really involved with this Hitler thing, you know. And then, you know, inside they had this ugly, ugly mind to do what they did. Do you think a man with your neighbor couldn't do it? That can happen anywhere. I had a hard time getting over all that. I regretted all that nonsense. You know. And I'm sorry to say that my soul and my heart was part of the organization that I joined.